horror novel just got pulled from one of the biggest publishers in the world, not because it had bad reviews, not because it had poor sales, but because an AI detector said it was AI written. The author says she didn't do it. Her editor did. Without telling her, the publisher panicked. The book was canceled overnight, and somewhere out there, a 1990s novel is getting flagged for AI by technology that didn't even exist when it was written. So today we need to talk about something every single one of us in business are navigating right now. And you might think, why are we talking about books? I don't want to publish a book. Well, these conversations are important to all of us because it is a greater conversation about AI content and the detection that seems to be policing it. So with that said, ladies, we have to brew this so deeply. And I have so many, let's just put devil's advocate to put to this one. And the first one I'm going to throw out to you guys is, here it comes. If people love the book, which is why it was published in the first place, why did this even happen?
When I looked into this, I did see that some avid readers were upset with the writing of it. Like they thought it was poorly written. And I feel like that was a discussion that was happening before this whole AI thing happened. And I'll make sure that the article that I read it from, because it was from a woman who used to work in publishing. So her perspective on this was very interesting. But what I really want to touch on is I love reading. And I will be reading my beautiful fictional book and I will come across an M dash and my brain will be like AI. When it's like, no, they are using proper grammar. It's just AI who likes to use it in every other sentence.
Right.
So it does make me almost kind of nervous thinking of kids in middle school and high school using AI and it like messing with like what is actual correct grammar and spelling and punctuation, because we get so mad when we see the M dash or you're not this, you're that sentence structure. So I know it's a bit off of a tangent from a book, but I feel like that applies to overall copywriting because we are in business and we all will do some type of copywriting within our business.
Definitely gets a bad rap for sure.
How crazy watches people. Anyway.
It is interesting how every single time I see an M dash, I think it's AI, and it's like that poor piece of grammar really got a bad rap from AI. It's like, but it does make you think like you need to adjust your writing so that you don't seem like you're AI. Like that's a crazy thought.
It's sad.
You guys are so getting me like, because one, I love end dashes. I've loved end dashes before AI ever existed. Two, I think there is a certain style choice that there's grammar and then there's style choices of writing. Also, where I want to go on basically what I'm hearing of what you guys are saying is it's kind of making me laugh as you're talking about grammar. Now let's go back, not even 10 years. Let's go to the blog days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the blog days, kind of between blogging and social media, can we just say grammar what? What was grammar? Huh? What are you talking about? Because grammar went completely out the window. So it's really hilarious to me for people to start getting on their high horse about grammar. I'm just being realistic here. We have been communicating with horrible grammar for years. AI, if anything, AI came back to, hey guys, we need to go back to grammar. I'm not doing it well, but hey.
Yeah, but don't you think that grammar is the easiest part of language for AI to grasp onto?
Well, I agree, but what's okay, I'm going to put another note on that. You could take what you got out of AI, put it in Grammarly, and then it's corrected. People are just lazier than ever.
Yes.
Fair enough.
I also think what's interesting with the AI detectors, though, is that AI doesn't know. It has to be trained to know. So I feel like at this point, you could throw, say, a Sarah J. Maas book into it, and it'll come back being like, this is not by a person. This is by a tool, when like that's not true. So I feel like we need to be wise with how we're using it, especially because my fiance came across this in colleges, how they're like very against AI and they're using detectors, and students have been like, no, I wrote this, but because the AI thing says it's 90% AI, they fail. So it's like, I think there's two things happening here. is AI is getting, like, almost too much credit because we have to remember we're the ones who's training it, it doesn't know, and we're also relying on it too much. Like, that professor should have just read the paper instead of being like, "I'm gonna throw it through AI to detect it, giving me a summary, whatever." It's like we're becoming lazier no matter what realm we're looking at.
Back to this story,
Mhm.
the editor said that they put some parts in AI to edit it. But an editor isn't supposed to be rewriting. They're supposed to respect the
No.
work. They're
Right.
supposed to be just editing it. So we're talking about a really bad editor or a really lazy editor anyway. I
Yeah.
don't know personally. I'm just saying, based on the information that's out there, that seems like not even correct way of editing. That's not even editing. Also, I want to bring to attention is the fact that this was a self-published book that
Hmm.
was so popular that a
Mhm.
publisher was drooling and said, "We're gonna re-release this under
Good.
our publishing house." So I think it's important to recognize that because that was one reason I said in the beginning, if it's so popular, what difference does it make? I'm not saying I agree with any of it. I'm saying there is a point of devil's advocacy that's
Yes.
like, well, if I'm enjoying this, and I'll give you a different example. With the Iran war, last thing I want to really mention here, but Iran is putting out these Lego movies that are made with AI, and they are brilliant. They are hilarious. They really lighten it, but it's funny because they're coming from another it's another country's propaganda, let's just be realistic. But they are really entertaining. They're made by AI. Yes, I would rather an animator is spending the time to do that, but humans obviously can't put out that quickly, right? The point is that I think there also is a conversation in here of a balance because
Mhm.
AI is here, it will be used. And what does balance look like? And the other side, of course, of the book thing is well, then everybody's going to start doing AI books and they're going to, we're going to fill our bookshelves with all these AI books. And we don't want that either, obviously. And that's the part that my heart breaks because I am a book reader, love old literature, you know.
Yeah, I think that context is a huge part of this whole story. It changed the meaning of the whole story when you just said that it was self-published and then the publisher picked it up. And so it's like just knowing the full story and the full context behind each one of these pieces really changes the final meaning of it, you know? And
Mhm.
so I just think that we need to take a step back and be like, where did we originally see this? What is the intention of it? How am I perceiving it? And how is the whole story being affected by AI? Or what is AI's part in this whole thing? So, for me, I think it's really important to just really look at where it was published and the audience it was intended for and the entertainment value of it. All these things are factors. There's a million variables. And for one person to put it through their lens only, I think it's kind of an unfair judgment.
There's a lot of layers to the conversation because the article I read, it also, I feel like, points to issues in just the industry of publishing and
Mhm.
editing and like the contracts that people are signing, saying to like to attest that like AI is not a part of it or large language models. And it's just like policies need to change. And also like the way that a lot of publishers take on books now is based on what is their popularity on social media.
Mm,
Which it's like, that's kind of like a red flag because again, yes, we wanna make sales, we wanna make money, that's how we live, but it's also like, are you just gonna put out a crappy book because they did really well on Reddit or a fanfic site? Or are we gonna stick to actual, like, proper writing, proper like, going through the proper process so people and authors get the, I was gonna say reward, but that's not the recognition that
mm.
they deserve and that the author, the editor, the publisher, they are all respected within their industries and they feel safe to flag if an author is plagiarizing or using AI and vice versa.
I love that you both said what you did because I love the context conversation. And I love what I'm hearing from you, Sarah, is the integrity conversation.
Yes. Yes.
And we've lost integrity. Um, And when we are picking things because they're popular, nothing against the people who enjoy it, but people also enjoy fan fiction and all sorts of things that are not well-written pieces of literature.
Yeah.
So there's a standard, obviously. And with that said, I'm remembering a story, and this was, of course, before AI. Well, AI probably existed in the back rooms. I don't know if you guys remember that Australian woman that claimed that she had brain cancer and her diet of juices and good
Yes.
eating. Yes.
There's a whole documentary on her. I watched it.
Yes, it was a very good one, by the way. But what you guys are talking about brings me present to that. She was a complete fraud.
Total
But
fraud.
not only did she get an app deal with Apple, she got a huge book deal.
Yep. With
And
her
then when
recipes.
she was exposed, that book, like when she was exposed, was around the time that her book was published.
Yep.
Now, with that said, I remember when this woman was popular. It was around the time that I had a crunchy vegan blog, and she had good recipes. There was good things. She was a liar. She was a fraud, and she stole from people. I'm not saying that. Totally recognize that. But going back in time, there was good things that she was putting out. There was good recipe. I don't think we need to demonize people 100%. I think that we need to also pay attention to everything in the whole picture. And I think that we have a very reactionary society where we go from one extreme to another, and we actually aren't like looking at a bigger picture. I am not saying that this girl should have continued to be able to do what she's doing. Not saying that at all. But I think we are quick to demonize people. And what my understanding of this story is, the only thing that has been admitted to is there's some portions of this book that the editor had put into AI. The whole book wasn't, if we believe the author, the whole book was not written by AI. But instantly, it's demonized. Instantly, it's canceled. Instantly, all of these things happen because we have this reactionary society. All of this happened because we had a detection tool that did this. And this is something that I want to lead us to. One AI detection company admitted its tool is simply unfamiliar with older writing styles, which is why it flags public domain works, old journals, classic literature as potential AI generated. We are talking about, ready for this? The Constitution. The Bible, people, Jane Austen, all flagged.
Come
All flagged.
on.
Now, so the AI detectors are essentially AI detecting itself. And here's where Mr. Via's wisdom comes in. He says, remember, AI only knows what it knows because of what we fed it.
Say it for the people in the back.
We
Honestly,
the people?
yes, I just
For the people, for the people.
for real. Like to
We're
me, I
doing it to ourselves.
yes, I think for me, this kind of makes me think of, I don't know if it was Amazon or a different company that let go a bunch of people because they're like, oh, AI can do it. And then they were like, oh shit, no, they can't do it. I just feel like we're trying to be too efficient, too fast, and we're not asking good questions. And that's why we're running into scenarios like this, especially with this detection thing. That should have been a no-brainer to take Shakespeare, Jane Austen, all of these different ways of writing, because I think of my bookshelf. Each of those authors writes so differently. Are some of them complete garbage and I question how they got a book deal? Yes. And there's other books that I'm like, I will lay my life on the line to get the next book. And that also comes down to personal preference. So I just feel like with how rapidly companies are trying to put robots out there, do AI out there, it's like we need to take it for a grain of salt and actually let it work out the kinks, because it's just going to backfire in a month, in a year, 10 years from now. It's going to backfire if we don't take proper precautions.
100% agree with that. And I also wanted to bring up this topic of the publisher and them feeling like their reputation is suddenly at risk if they don't pull it and there's this big scandal that's going on. Then what do people say about them? And so there's a whole nother world of just like the publisher industry. And I mean, I don't know, Sarah, because you read a lot of books and you probably know more about this topic than I do. But what is like, I mean, how do these, because I feel like the publishing industry is it's kind of old school, but in a good way. How do they like manage this whole AI? How do they navigate this AI world at this point?
In the article, it was having like the really strict clauses and contracts being like, you have to attest that this is original work and that there's no AI generated images or text at all. And a lot of people don't think of AI as plagiarizing, which is kind of like it kind of is because it's pulling that information from other
Right.
places
Yep.
because it is taught by a human. It doesn't just know. And so I just feel like we're all trying to get on this AI bandwagon. We see how it can make us more efficient, in which being too efficient can hurt us. And that's coming from an operations person who loves that shit. And I think also, too, we are afraid of being canceled because of how quickly people can destroy someone's reputation over one thing.
Right. And I think there's a few really beautiful points there. One is that whole fear of cancellation. The other is what you talked about with different writers. Like you read different writers. Like I'm a huge
Yeah.
Shakespeare person. Some people can't stand Shakespeare because they can't understand it. And that brings me to one of my points that I wanted to bring, and being a neurodivergent person, this one really hits home because I put things in on A detectors that I have written and it gets hit. Neurodivergent writers, people with autism, ADHD, I personally have ADHD, and non-native English speakers are flagged at higher rates than native speakers because their natural patterns resemble what detectors have been trained to call AI. These AI detectors are curbing opportunities for people if we are getting so legalistic to use them as the holy grail. And like I said before, my husband's point of like, it only knows what we feed it. Well, who is AI to detect AI?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, let's be real. That might be that some people might think that's a dumb thing to say, but I mean, really think about that.
No, it's not.
So there was one writer that uploaded her own teenage journals. This is written like before large language models were even existed. Once again, and the detection flagged it was a 75% likely AI generated. Forgive me, 70% likely AI generated. These are written journals, people. So I think that there is, if we go back to anything new that has entered our society, we even had this with those, I can't remember what they were called. People were, the art, the digital art that people are spending tons of money on.
Oh yeah, those
I
the
can't remember
monkey,
right
the
now.
digital
Yeah.
image of the
And it was like certified. And my husband actually really got into those things and stuff. But I remember how I felt when those came in. And I think that it's kind of a similar feeling for me, at least. But I feel like it might resonate with you ladies, which is that there is an inherent originality, creativity, integrity. And I know there's a few other words in there that I will not say at this time, but that those things are absent of.
Mhm.
And I think that that's what the detection truly is. There is something absent here. And I will say with one word, it's a human soul.
I agree.
yeah.
You can write like AI, but your soul is present. Your passion is actually present in it. A detector may go, I, but a human with a soul can hear the human in there.
Yes. Because you can tell the difference in a social media caption of someone who just had AI do it and they slapped it
Yeah.
versus someone who may have used AI to get a first draft or an outline, but then went in and edited it and then rewrote it. Because I'm going to
Yeah.
be honest, in my marketing, that's kind of how I use AI because I will overthink my ideas. I struggle with the creativity side of my business. So this helps me take my word vomit, structure it into something where I'm like, oh, I see the framework. I see how I'm leading someone to booking a call with me. Now let me go in and rewrite it so it sounds like me. And there might
Exactly.
even be mistakes in there, but like, y'all, I am not the best at grammar. So if there's a spelling, we're not going to die over it.
I've actually just recently I was on LinkedIn and a content writer said that sometimes like it's like we're getting to the point where you put mistakes in there on purpose to like prove that you're human.
That's
And I'm
so
just,
wild to me.
I know, I never thought of that before. And I was like,
It's ridiculous.
wow, is that what we're coming to at this point? I just feel like we've jumped on the bandwagon so quickly on this journey, and it's like the Wild West right now. Like, there are no rules and regulations. Like, I'd like to fast forward. I'm not saying there's no value in AI. I use it daily myself in the ways that Sarah just described. But I also think that if we fast forwarded a year or two, maybe even more, there would be more clarity on best ways of using it, or what it's good at, what it's not good at, or some kind of definitions or rules around it, so that we can get a grip on how we are working together with AI as humans.
Yeah, and like I said before, you who is watching this might wonder, why are we talking about something publishing when we're talking about solopreneurs and small business people? Well, because there is ways that AI is really supporting us. Me being an ADHD creative person, AI supports me in just helping me be a little more organized in my thinking. Does that mean I have it replace me? Absolutely not. And that's not what it's about, and that's not what should be used for. But these conversations are important, because your company using AI or not using AI, do you really want to see your company canceled because someone decided to flag your company for detecting on AI detectors? Like, do we really want to be policed by AI for AI?
It makes no sense.
I don't want AI being my police. I want a human being my police. So, with that said, I think that the other thing that we noted to that, though, is laziness. All of this is happening because we don't want to spend the time to do the things that we are supposed to be as humans doing. And AI is really just meant to help us be more efficient time wise, because we have high demands on time. You are a small business owner that is listening. And we know that you need to have that time back from you to do the most important things. So let's make sure that the demonization is not happening from using it the way it should be ethically used, and also keeping the conversation open for creators, true creative people that have a soul in what they're creating, that they have protection at the end of the day. So I'm going to wrap up with this quote. AI learned how to write from humans. So when a detector flags your content as AI, it might just mean you write well. The problem isn't the tool. The problem is treating probability as proof. With that said, less sips.
Hope what the listeners or watchers take from this is that, as we always say, it comes back to discernment. It comes back to the most successful people are going to be using the human touch and the AI touch. It's going to be a blend, and that blend is dependent on what you value most in your company. And there will be stories out there like Shy Girl, and I'm sure there's many others that we haven't even touched on. And it's about staying true to your values, using your discernment. And also, like, it doesn't hurt to keep the receipts if you have some random person come out after you, because you'll have proof.
Thank you for your brilliance. And I just want to leave you all with the human feeling behind words still matter. And that's what we ultimately are searching for.